Hi, Judith Reedy here at the Creative Zone, and I am excited to have you here today. We're going to be looking at um, structuring a painting, but not just from a design point of view, but from an idea that you feel and that you feel is important and you want to express because you saw this and your heart just, it touched your heart. And yet you want to express it with a visual image. And so today we're going to be looking at compassion for the homeless vets. I have been really thinking, because I have some good friends that are working at the VA and have really been stressed out lately and have been trying to help these vets. And then also I have a friend who is working with people who are homeless. And there's a really, I don't know if you're aware of this, but something like anywhere from 15 to 25% of the homeless people in a given area can be vets. And that varies from different cities and different situations. But, you know, these people, oftentimes these people, we don't understand them. I have this beautiful studio. I have a wonderful place to work. I have a nice home, not very fancy, but I have a home and I have a stable environment. Um, a lot of these people that we look at and see seem their lives are indigent. We don't really understand what they have gone through or what they have experienced in, and we certainly haven't, many of us haven't in, um, encountered that ourselves. Now, some of us have overcome, and there are people who have overcome and have actually made it their mission to help people in those situations. And and that has given them a great deal of gratification. But I would like to support those who do that, and that's why I'm telling the story. And I'm also going to be showing you why I developed the painting, and how I'm going to continue developing, and why I took the image that I started with. So let's uh, take a look. I hope that um, you will basically follow along. You're going to learn about the structuring the painting, how I do that. You're going to also understand why I selected and place things where I place them, and how the whole process is done. Now, this is an abbreviated script. In the coming months, I will have this entire series available full length so you can see the whole thing. But I think it really will give you a taste of how I think about it and how I try to communicate what I see. And so thank you for coming today. My name is Judith Reedy. Remember to like or subscribe depending on whether you're on Facebook or on Instagram or YouTube. So here we go. Um, we're going to look at the image and how I developed it and why. Now you can see here I have the very beginning, and I'm kind of, I wanted the homeless person to be in the middle, and I also wanted people just walking by, anonymous people, passing that person by. And I, I specifically wanted the focus, though, to be on the homeless person, and yet I wanted that person to be anonymous so that you could get the feeling that that could be virtually anyone. Now, I started with the medium value and white, and now I'm putting in the dark values uh, in variations, and building this painting in that manner. Uh, the large imposing form in front is very strong. You can almost feel his sense of walking by. And then there's another person on the far right in the corner who is looking away as well. Nobody is looking at the homeless person. No one is paying attention to the homeless person. But as you say, you can see here, I'm developing the shapes. I'm making certain areas to be dark. The original image that I had the background a little darker, but I decided to make it, had it quite a bit darker. But I decided I really didn't want it to compete with the foreground in the other images. It will end up being a little darker, but the focus is going to be on this homeless person who, to a certain extent, in this case, is somewhat anonymous to us. I'm really quite fascinated with the simplicity of the forms. There's 3 forms, 1, 2, 3. And then in the middle there are 3 forms, 1, 2, 3, the man in the 2 bags. There's also 3 plants, 1, 2, 3. And also 3 white spaces, 1, 2, 3. So I've got a pattern going, even though it's somewhat subconscious, and I'm really interested. Now you can see at the end here, this is how I finished it. This is the underpainting. So we're going to be developing it further, and you will be able to see that. See, now that was how I really prepared this image. So, and I'm really, this is going to be basically a monochromatic painting that I'm going to be developing in yellow and black and white. And what happens when you use yellow and black is you end up with a little bit of green, which I think is going to go really well with the whole military concept, that kind of army green. Plus, I can still get some green plants, I can have some yellow plants, and I can still get a nice variation. And yet I think it goes well with the whole military veteran appearance and the somberness of the sadness of the situation. You notice at the end he had that cup let out there. Now, why do vets end up that way? A lot of it was when they are deployed, they're unemployed. Their employer basically closed their job, and they come back and they're not given a job. And they're not really given a stipend or anything like that. They may have a family, and they have to take a job right away. They may not have the skills they feel to get into college. There's a lot of stress maybe in their life. Who knows what they saw while they were out there? They saw death. They participated in death. They saw innocence without questions. And then, they had physical sometimes ailments. Sometimes they were injured. They may have a bad back, bad arm, bad whatever, that makes life very difficult for them. There could be any number of situations. I have a story about a person that I was told about who had been given a place to live. And on the 4th of July, a time where we get all excited, he heard the sounds of all the fireworks going off, and it set him off for PSTD. And he basically went crazy and made holes in the wall and freaked out. And you think, well, he should be able to control himself. Who knows what went through that person's mind, what they were feeling. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, where if something traumatic happens, it really gets into your system, and it's very difficult to release. Another sound that we would just laugh at and think how wonderful would be the cries of a baby. We get excited, we hear it, but for them it could mean great sorrow. Maybe something they saw, something that you and I, had we saw, would pretty much feel the same way. So I'm going to be developing this painting in the coming week. I'll be talking more about the color palette I'm picking, and I'll show you how I mix the colors. This is primarily a monochromatic painting. It already has strong design elements. There's a threes going on. I like the idea, the 3 objects, the 3 spots of light. It all is going to flow together and really I think, make a strong statement. And I'm so glad that you came today and participated in watching how this was developed. Now, I know that some of you are in my color foundations class where I am teaching you. I have a new unit for you where I've expanded the color foundations unit course and added a unit where you change the hue, the color of a given flower. Could be have been a blue flower and I make it a yellow flower, and we keep the relative values of each new color. And sometimes we might move it up a register and make it lighter, but because we keep the relative relationships of the values, we're able to structure the flower in a believable manner. And so that's a really exciting exercise to help you. Now, there may be some of you who are thinking, whoa, I don't know if I could even mix colors. That's why I have 7 essential simple tricks to mix color. And that course gives you the essentials to mixing colors. I give you a warm and cool of each primary. And then I also help you to know how to mix which primary of those warm primary colors of warm or cool, and to mix to get an intense secondary from it, in which when you don't want quite an intense secondary. And then also I talk to you about other ways of varying the hues through tints, tones, and shades, and of course complements. Plus we talk about color vibration by neighboring colors and by laying opposite colors of the color wheel in large masses of area next to each other. There are so many things that you can learn about in my class, the essentials, 7 essential simple tricks to mix color. I think you will find it very helpful, and it really does set you on your way to mix virtually any color. And it will get you ready to do color foundations and make those beautiful flowers. It will also prepare you to be able to paint a whole series of color paintings, courses that I'm going to be doing on creating color harmony, where you're going to learn about different color schemes, different ways of making harmonious paintings. But whatever you do, enjoy painting and keep painting. Don't give up, don't be discouraged. And also think about, what's your idea? What do you want to say? In today's world, we need to make paintings about something that lifts our heart and brings us together. And so I am so thankful today that I could share with you at the beginning of this series I'm going to be doing on painting the story of hope for these homeless vets. And I will be pointing out different things that we can do to help them or help others help them. So until next time, remember, every week, every Tuesday and or Thursday around 2:30, 2 o'clock, I'm here talking about something related to painting and something that is very real in our lives, that really where we can make a difference. So thank you for coming, and thank you for liking and subscribing, and please make comments and join me every week. Have a great day.